What is up, everybody? Kika06 back with another test video with a Ryzen 7 8700G, and today we have another iteration of Apex Legends. But before we get started, I want you to know that the links to every single part in my test rig, as well as the link to my Discord, are going to be down below in the information section. And speaking of information, the last 6.5 to 7 minutes of this video are going to be all the software I downloaded and all of the configurations I changed to the CPU out of the box. Basically all the information about how I set this up before I started gaming. So if you're interested in that, skip to the last 6.5 minutes of this video and you'll be set. There will also be chapters, so you'll be able to skip to it. But when it comes to the game, Apex Legends is kind of strange because it doesn't have the graphical settings to change. It doesn't have like a high, a medium, a low, ultra, epic, whatever. It doesn't have those. Really the only thing that you can change is kind of the VSync settings. So they have dynamic, they've got triple buffer, they got a bunch of other ones, and they really didn't do a whole lot of change for us. They more so do a pretty big difference when you have a dedicated graphics card, not really an APU like what we're using now. So you'll see the settings. Actually, I think the settings just passed by, but you can see what we ran with, and that's kind of what we ran with the whole video. I died pretty quick in this game, so there's actually 2 gameplays, and you can notice that in gunfights it was smooth, it was fluid, like it looked good, and I think that is because of these 1% lows. And even in the middle of a fight, the 1% lows still stay around 50, and the reason why it's at 32 right now is because we were flying through the air, so it had to render, and it takes about 15 to 20 seconds for it to get to, like, pretty much to update itself, which is why now it's at 47. So 47, 48, 1% lows is actually phenomenal. That is what you want in a shooter. So a consistent 60 FPS is kind of what we're getting, 60 to 70 FPS, and then those 1% lows kind of hanging between 45 and 50. That is absolutely amazing for a computer that doesn't even have a GPU. Out of 10, I would probably give this, I'd probably say it's a good 8 out of 10 because it felt great. The FPS is at 60, which is why I docked it 2 points, but it's not for performance issues because it looks great, feels great. Even when you're in the middle of a fight, you're not losing any frames. You're not going to lose a fight because your game glitches once the APU gets overloaded with a fight or with all the different terrains. So it looked great. I'll give this one an 8 out of 10, but that is going to be it for me. Since there's not really a lot of settings to go through, what I will say is if there's any other game you want to see, feel free to post it down in the comment section below or find me in the Discord. If it's cheap, free, or if I already own it, I will make a video for you, but that is it. I am done talking. Again, my name is Kika06. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next video.
One down. I'm getting shot. No good, brothers.
Gibby,
I've been down.
I'll avenge you. You will be avenged. I'm coming up with you.
Only once have I failed to kill a target. Never again.
Need to recharge my shields.
Attention, delivering care package.
Care package coming in.
Need to recharge my shields. Task chosen. Got an ID. Open it. Watch it. Squad attacking. I've been down.
Like, dude, it's a whole other team. That's the annoying part.
What is up, guys? If you made it this far, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the videos. I hope you found them helpful. Up to over the past couple days, I have tested about 20 different games, and this is kind of the part where I just want to go over with you guys my settings and maybe go over an issue or two that I had. First off, this right here is called FPS Monitor. I got it off of Steam. I believe it was a couple bucks, but this is where I got all the information that was in, I think, all but one of the videos. And I think CS Counter-Strike 2, I think, did not take this. I don't remember. One of them didn't like it and it wouldn't work. But FPS Monitor on Steam, I think it was a couple bucks, but that is exactly what I used. As for this is the Adrenaline. This is the AMD Adrenaline app that you will need if you are going to get the CPU or any of the G series from Ryzen. So HyperRX is well known for it being the best for FPS. It has the Super Res that was on, Fluid Motion Frames 2 that was on, Anti-Lag and Boost. All of these were on. You can go to quality, and I think it's pretty comparable, but based on my research, HyperRX is definitely the one that you want to go to for performance, and you can get all these. You can have your own overlay. You can set it up here. I just didn't do that because I like the way the other one was formatted a little bit better. Here's the system right now. I have 32 gig of RAM installed. There's the Ryzen 7 8700G as advertised. So right now it says there's only 24 gig of RAM, and I will tell you why right now. I went into the BIOS and changed the UMA frame buffer size to 8 gig, which means that I took 8 gig of the physical RAM and turned it into VRAM for the APU, so it would have more power. With 32 gig, that gave us plenty of room since most of the games today did not even get over 20 gig usage of RAM. So that gave us some extra FPS. So that's why I did it. I allocated 8 gig of RAM, and that's why right there. I had a question in my chat before that was asking me what version I was using of Windows. So there it is, Windows 11 Home. There's the version in the OS build. So the next thing that I wanted to show you was AMD Ryzen Master. This is where I go for basically the overclocking, really. So I set it on game mode, turned on Precision Boost Overdrive. On top of that, I came down to sock voltage. So the GPU sock voltage was, I set it to 1.275, and I will tell you exactly why. Once I got into the more demanding games like Halo and Warzone and Ark, the computer started just resetting on me, and it would just reset and go right back to the login screen. So I did a little bit of research on Reddit and YouTube, and I found one guy that said he had those same exact issues, and he said it was a voltage problem. So he raised it up to 1.275 volts, and it worked flawlessly, and it was stable, and he never had an issue again. I think, if I remember right, it was on like 1.15 or 1.175, something like that. So he didn't raise it a crazy amount, but over the past 7, I believe, the past 7 games that I tested, 0 issues and no issues, no criticals in the event viewer either. A couple other things in the BIOS, like I said, I allocated that VRAM. I made sure that the resize bar was enabled. I set the F clock to 2500 and the U clock was at 3000 because I used 6000 megahertz RAM. And XMP was on for this, by the way, in case you were curious. Let's see what else I have for you guys before we go out. So that FPS monitor app that I use, it showed the 1% and 0.1% lows. And I just want you to know that the first 20 to 30 seconds after I changed to a different graphical setting, it kind of resets that. So the first 20 to 30 seconds are not trustworthy. So if I switch over and you see, oh, it's only 5 FPS for a 1% low for 25 seconds. That's awful. It was not that bad, which is why it went from 5. In most cases, it went from that 5 FPS or 2 FPS all the way up to 30 or 40. It just had to reset, and it basically has to play catch up. One other thing I wanted you guys to understand, all of this testing was done on a 27-inch Asus TUF curved 1080p 165 hertz monitor. The frames were, basically the frames were uncapped if it was possible, and if possible, every single one of these games was done in full screen exclusive. And the last thing I wanted you guys to know is that all of the recording and all of the FPS monitoring software was done on the computer while playing the game. So I did go back and I played 5 to 10 of the games over again just to see the difference in the FPS without having to run OBS and FPS monitor. And it came down to about a 5 to 13 FPS differential when the OBS and FPS monitor were turned off. When the game was the only thing running, there was an increase of about 5 to 13 FPS on average. And I know that's kind of a very precise number, and that's just exactly what it was. So that is going to be it for me. If you have any other questions or if you want to see any other games, please feel free. Put them in the comments below and I will get to them. I plan on keeping this computer for a while. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Don't be safe. Don't do anything stupid. And I will catch you guys on the next video.